Hello everyone and welcome back to Factorio, where I have taken on board some of the comments and we will be playing with Alt held down, or rather Alt clicked, as much as I can remember to. I am going to be honest, I will probably turn this off just out of force of habit a lot, and I might not notice for a little while, but by all means let me know in the comments if you do feel that it being off is impacting your ability to follow what I'm doing. For those of you who can't really see what the difference is, by clicking Alt, it'll add overlays. So, for example, it'll show what an assembling machine is making, which direction inserters are pointing, that kind of thing. I find that it clutters the map a little bit when I've got it activated, so I generally leave it off and then turn it on only when I want to check on something. Also, thank you very much for the suggestion to limit the chests. I had completely forgotten about that, and it was rather silly of me to have forgotten about it. Let's limit that to 400, and honestly, we don't need that. Actually, we don't even need that many. Let's limit this chest, and all this means is that the chest will be considered full when only 2 of the areas there are actually filled. Now, one of the things that actually changed in 0.15, it might have been, that I was completely unused to, is that you can now feed research plants from other research plants. They will quite happily take the components out of the neighboring research, the lab, which is very, very useful for a number of reasons. There we go. It'll, especially when you've got 7 different science packs, it'll be a godsend then. Right, let's pull this belt down. All I'm really saving there is making it a little bit easier for me. There we go. We'll split those up as well, and then that way these ones can pull from that as and when they need it. In fact, I could put another 2 down. I don't really think we need to. We're not going through it that fast. Okay, that gives me some time to look at a couple of other things. Now, one of the big things that I would like to change, and probably wise to change it before we actually upgrade our mining, which we are going to need to do in this episode, and that is to implement a suggestion whereby I'm going to switch the input and the output lanes for the smelter setup here. And there's a couple of reasons why you might want to do this. It looks nice, and it does lend itself a little bit easier to further expansion because you add on to the end of the line rather than having to delete things here and the belt here and then push stuff back. It makes it a tiny bit easier. But the main thing is that right now all of these furnaces are pulling off this one belt that only half of it is ore, half of it is coal. So effectively each stack has half of this belt's available throughput to work with. If we switch it to having each side filled with copper ore and coal, for example, then each stack has its own dedicated belt. So it just doubles the amount of resources that it has access to, and also it neatly fills both sides of the belt as it goes, which is actually quite useful for a number of reasons. Now, for this, we're going to want to tidy this up just a little bit and pull these up on this side. There we go. And the same on this side, like so. Let me just grab everything from in here. Oh, we still had plenty of copper to smelt. Okay, fair enough. That will do. I think what we'll do is, there we go. You've got to try and grab these before they grab something else, otherwise it'll jam the inserter. In fact, I'll just illustrate that. If I do that now, once there's coal and copper ore over here, it'll never pick them up because it can't drop off the plate that it's got in its inventory. So be aware of that, because it can very easily catch you off guard. Right, let's just get all of these sorted out as well. Have I rotated that one around? Ah, see, I turned it off. I'm so sorry. It will take me a little bit to get into the habit of leaving that on. I do apologize for those who find it a little bit harder to follow along without it. I will get better. Right, there we go. So the way we're going to split this up, we'll actually set it up right now before we increase our mining operation. We're going to need 2 splitters. Won't be too difficult. We'll also need an underground belt as well. So let's drive this back a little bit. In fact, we're going to want 3 splitters because I just noticed this, and there's really no point in having power being used up on that when we can just use a splitter and get the same job done. So we'll just pop that one there. There we go. Nice and tidy. Right, on this side, let's see. We're going to use a splitter there. Ah, okay, right. We're going to need this to be moved ever so slightly. And we're going to need to send these a bit further up. We'll just go ahead and pop you there instead, shall we? And then... ugly. Oh, well. Can you connect, please? Oh, spaghetti. Spaghetti. It burns. It freezes. We'll pop that one there instead. There we go. It kind of has symmetry if you squint and look at it sideways. It's fine. It's fine. I'm sure we'll be okay. There we go. That looks a little... Yes, I am going to fuss around this. Right, okay. So there we go. Right, now what we can do is this, and then there we are. Nice and split evenly. And you can already see why I wanted the underground belt now, I'm sure. Ooh, there we are. Let's get those out of the way. There we go. And then we simply deliver the copper right over here. And we're good. Oops, wrong way. There we are. And that should spread the copper around on either side of the belt. We are going to be running out of iron extremely quickly. So let's do exactly the same thing over here. Going to want to drag this all up like so. Grab all the coal while we're here. Thankfully, the belt for iron had already dried up, so we don't have to worry about any of the inserters pointing the wrong way, etc, etc. There we go. Let's just quickly get all of this set up, and as you can see, it'll be much easier for us to expand the stack going in that direction if we want to. In this case, it's not actually useful for us because we don't really intend to expand this stack more than we've already got it. This base is not going to be a smelter base. It's just a temporary measure because we have no other available area for smelting. Let's go ahead and drag all of this back and we can get that into the correct location. I'm going to need 2 more and another one. There we go. That should all be fine, and that one can point in the right direction straight away. Right, from here we're going to want this all moving up there and then over here as well. Perfect. And up we go. Right, we'll want the iron flowing in around here. There we are. Everything is done and we're ready to expand our mining operation. But before we do that, oops, I've completely messed that up somehow. There we go. Perfect. Before we do that though, we're going to need a lot of miners. And as I mentioned, I just don't like doing things by hand in a game that's all about automating things. So we're going to set up automation of the miners, and that will be useful over time. We're going to need a lot of them. We'll probably move around where it's all being automated. On that note, though, I am actually going to make a couple of lights quickly and then just dot them around. As a couple of people have mentioned that they do find it a little bit difficult because nighttime is very dark in this game. However, I really like the night-day aesthetic. I like the look of the factory at night. So I'm not going to get any of the mods that basically make it daylight all the time. I'm not a fan of those. All that does is, well, it makes it as bright as daylight visually. It doesn't mean that solar panels run all the time. Though there are mods that also do that. At that point, when you just make one building that just gives you infinite power. And though, again, there are those as well. Some people just hate challenge. Right, there we are. I'll just pop a couple of these down in areas where I might want to walk and pick something up. For example, I'm not going to worry about the furnaces simply because the furnaces should always be well lit, simply because they actually generate light when they're firing. Alright, there we go. We'll also drop a couple of down. The mines are probably one of the bigger culprits where we're going to need that kind of thing. There we are. That's all wonderful. I'm going to allow that to just make brick forever. Really. Can I grab everything in there? I can. Wow, there was an awful lot of copper there. My goodness. Right. Okay, so in terms of making our miners, we're going to need 3 components: electrical circuits, iron, and iron gears, which sounds remarkably similar to a little setup we've got over here. In fact, okay, well, we could set that up if we really wanted to. Yeah, we could just mirror it on this side. There's no reason to be overly ambitious here. We'll just quickly set that up, and we can have all of that happening. In fact, I should probably set up a assembling machine. Oh, really? Exactly the same thing? My lord. Well, you know what then? In that case, I mean, we could just have this delivering onto lines, and that would increase the reason to actually set up a proper little green circuit manufacturing area, rather than doubling up all of the work unnecessarily, because this is not being used to its fullest. Okay, we could do that. Sure, all right. We'll improve the efficiency of this little area a tad, shall we? Let's move this around, since this little setup is going to be used over and over again in this area. We'll just go ahead and get all of this working. What I am going to need to do, though, is move this across, because we're going to want a bit more room to set all of this up. Basically, delivered here, we're going to want iron gears, iron plates, and electronic circuits. The iron gears and plates, probably we can actually just get by with having this make them on location. There's no particular reason not to. So let's set that bit up. There we go. And we'll pull in from there as well. There we are. And I want this one to be making gears. There we go. That'll do all it needs to do. But for the electronic circuits, let's move a little bit further down. How quickly can we make these? I can make one every 2 seconds. And it actually requires 5 iron gear wheels. So if one iron gear factory would not be able to meet the demand for this, I'd need 2, which means that at that point I may as well have 2 factories making miners. I don't think there's a need for that, so we're not going to do that. We will mirror this design over on this side, since it has everything I need. There we go. And we'll just have one of these. But I really don't feel that we're going to need them in sufficient quantity to rationalize setting up 2 and then having 2 factories running off the output of these 2. That should be fine, I think. 3 of these running 2 of these factories. I just don't think it's necessary. There we go. Let's get those set up. That will do. Now, what we are going to want is plenty of green circuits. Now, the thing here is that green circuits, you are going to use them in quite a reasonable amount. We'll make one every 0.5 seconds. This is made every 0.5 seconds, so we will actually make use of that, whereas this requires 3 every 0.5 seconds. So we're actually going to need a fair number, and we still won't completely saturate the output of these factories. I'm going to restrict this fairly aggressively, but that will be quite useful there. Now, as for you, going to need exactly the same thing once again. My goodness. Let's get... but how long does it... That takes 2. This takes 0.5. Oh, actually, I was looking at the wrong thing. I meant to set this up as the mining area. I was looking at completely the wrong bit of information. That actually builds really, really fast and needs an awful lot of iron gear wheels to make. Again, we're probably not going to need that many ever being made, so I'm going to just accept the speed that it's going to be making those at is going to be slow. I just don't care enough to worry about that one, I'll be honest with you. And that's probably bad of me, I know, but well. Right, there we are. And we could restrict this if we had circuits, but we don't. So I'm going to be a little bit lazy. I'm just going to set these up. Oh, no! Scallywag, I made 2 as well. No, I made 6. That is so horrifically bad. I right-clicked to try and cancel it because in so many games that's the right-click does the opposite of the left-click. It's been a while, everyone. I am sorry. But yeah, the reason why you don't generally need these is because they don't upgrade into anything else. But at least I had room for them. Exactly 6 were needed, so, you know, it could be worse, I suppose. Right, let's get electric miners. There we are. And we'll do exactly the same thing over here. And extend this out a little bit. I know, I said in this episode we were going to be working on setting up all of the belts. And we will eventually. We will eventually. It'll eventually happen, I promise. Let's get rid of you for now. Don't need you there. There we go. And we are actually going to need you all the way over here, though. So let's draw that out for now. Alright, there we are. And we can simply have these being loaded. Okay, that's the first step. Now, we're going to want electronic circuits made. Now, the ratio to do this, generally speaking, is 3 factories making copper cable to 2 factories making electronic circuits. Generally that's gonna get you everything you need. So let's go ahead and pop these 2 down here, 1 and 2. And actually I could filter that across a little bit in a way. The way you usually do it is have the 3 aligned behind so that 1.5 factories worth of copper cable is loaded into each electronic circuit factory. So you do something like this and just offload it like so. We could just pull that across actually and make it look a bit nicer, and I will because it'll look ugly otherwise. And let's get the last one. Did we have another one being made? Oh, perhaps I didn't. My bad. There we go. And then you just do this like so. There we are. Now these are going to be making copper cable. These are going to be making electronic circuits. And we should be good. We are going to need to deliver iron in. How much iron does it take? Just 1 iron plate is fine. So we're going to have the iron plate being delivered outside. A little bit further apart. We are going to need to get do we actually have enough room? Not if I do it like that, no. Never mind. We'll do it like that then. It doesn't really matter in this case which side we go for. There we are. Now what I meant by we'll have that one on the outside is the long reach inserter, the long-handed inserter can load up there, and then we'll load the electronic circuits directly down onto another belt that is running in this direction, like so. And then all of these can pick up from them. And it should be nice and neat. There we are. Going to need to run power down here as well. And just to keep things nice and tidy, we'll do it like that. There we go. Over here, nothing is going to make this nice and tidy, unfortunately. So we're just going to have to live with that. Then we can have that one there, though. And we'll want this to drop down there. And promptly just run across. There we go. It will work. And our splitter is all we need, and then we should be up and running. Just need to connect this to the main electricity over there, and we'll see if this works. There we go. Perfect. These will start rolling down and start being picked up. Unfortunately, this one is going to get a priority on it, and then this one's going to get a little bit, and then this one's going to get it last, which isn't actually particularly good, simply because I want this one to have the priority on it. And unfortunately, it's just not going to get that priority. I could fix that by adding a couple more on the side, like another setup, but that would saturate this belt. And we could do that. In fact, if we did, it would provide us with some electronic circuits in the future, which would be quite useful. To be fair, so let's go grab those 5 assembly machines and do exactly the same thing over here. There we go. And we should be grand. There we are. We're going to need that over there, actually. There we are. Right, if we had bots at this point, this would be a perfect time to use blueprints. Alas, we do not. So we're just going to have to slum it for this first couple of episodes. There we go. And once again, I'm going to need to connect that up around here. And let's just copy those over. Nice and easy. Shift right click allows you to copy the settings of a factory. Shift left click allows you to paste the settings. The green ghosted image is the one that you're copying from. You can paste it into chests as well. And if they are, for example, logistics chests, which actively request certain items, then that will be fed into the logistics network and robots will come along and deliver the items as and when, which is actually quite cool. All right, there we go. That'll help out a little bit. We've already actually saturated the line anyway, but it's fine. We'll make a splitter here just to try and fill this line properly. As soon as that is made, there we go. Boom. There we are. And then that'll be dropped down on the top. So perfect. What we can do then is just have a final little bit to this line. And then have any excess being put directly into a crate. There we go. That'll keep things moving for us. Alright, now that we have finally got all of these electric drills being made, though that being said, we're not really getting enough iron, and as iron is the big problem right now, not copper, we'll take that as an indication of which mining area we need to upgrade first, and that will be the iron area. Right, just as well, actually. Oh, Logistics 2 has finished. Fantastic. We could go here if we had steel processing. So it is now time for us to learn how to make steel, which is just tragic, really, considering, you know, that we would have had steel chests, but it's too late now. Right, so let's just pop all of these down into position. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set this up to be mined very thoroughly. And that way we won't have to worry about it for a little while. All that up, there we go. And we're going to want another splitter, well, probably up around there, it should be fine. We'll bring this up, and oh, why have I sent that in the wrong direction? I mean, I could have it just wrap around, I suppose, but not quite what I meant to do. There we are. Everything was pointing the wrong way, my goodness. Right, there we go. Now all we need to do is provide some power. Let's do it this way. There we go. And we're going to need quite a lot more of those. But while we're down here, let's pop down a couple of lights. There we are. Lovely. Get some power there, and indeed some power over here as well. And steel processing is finished. My, that was not hard at all. We could get some heavy armor. I wouldn't mind some heavy armor, actually. So go ahead and research that for me, and then we'll work on the railway. We can't actually do anything with heavy armor right now anyway because we need steel for it, but that does give us a reason to set up steel processing, which is pretty much, I would say that plastic is also one of the basic resources because you're going to need so much of it, but that is produced with oil. So in terms of the early game resources, if we say early game rather than basic, steel, iron, copper, stone, coal. There you go. That's all you're really going to be needing in the very, very early game. Okay, so we've got like no more of this. Perhaps I'll turn that to the side and we'll just pop all of this onto the belt for now so that we don't end up without having any miners being made or in fact research being done. Though now we've increased a little bit the mining, it will be getting better just by small amounts. There we go. And that can just be sat down there. Let's grab, oh really, only another 4? That makes me kind of sad. Actually, you know what, I'm going to undo what I just did and I'm just going to give it all to you directly. It does look like iron is the real struggle for us right now, but it is going to be getting better. As we can see, more and more of them are working all the while. I might need to just make a bunch in my pocket for now then, just to make sure that we get things moving again. Actually, that one doesn't need to be there anymore, so let's pick that one up. There we go, and we'll just make sure that this side has got all of the miners that we can afford to build. There we are, and that should be fine. That one is going to run out extremely fast, but that's okay. Right, on this side, we'll just get the next couple already on the go. There we are. And that should do us for a little bit. We'll pop down. Where is a splitter? There we go. Okay, slowly but surely, we're getting there. Going to need to obviously hook that up to power as well before I leave. Right, have one there, there, and everything else is powered. Glorious, 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 glorious. Right, everything should be filtering up to the iron smelter. Now, in terms of power, we are actually starting to get dangerously close to our maximum. So let's actually upgrade power a wee bit before we do anything else as well. How much iron have we got? Actually had quite a lot. Brilliant. Let's go ahead and make... Yeah, sure, we'll make a couple more boilers and steam engines. I should actually set those up to be made as well. So many things I need to make. And that's... Honestly, I find that actually fun, though. If you do play the challenge to handcraft the minimal amount of items you can, I strongly recommend it. I actually really enjoy that challenge, just because it gives you so much more reason to do all of this stuff. Right, we're going to want underground pipe, another thing that I could totally be automating, but I don't want to get down to that too much just yet, because this is, again, not where most of this stuff is going to live, damn it. Right, we want that about here, will do, and there as well. No, come on, there we go, and then we can just run this over and connect up. There we are, perfect. Right, we want... Oh, there, no, there we are, perfect, and connect this across. There we go. That has doubled our power for now. Right, heavy armor is finished. We can't do anything with it because heavy armor requires that we actually have steel available. But where is the next level of logistics? That is going to require engines to be researched. So let's get on with that. That'll allow us to make the basic engine unit and also the pump for liquid wagons or tanker wagons for our train setup. Ah, fantastic. Iron is flowing through a little bit better now. That is glorious to see. Let's go and have a wee look then, and I'll grab all of that and hand these to the inserters. And how many more have we got? We got 6 then. It could be a lot better, to be perfectly honest, but we'll get there eventually. Right now, one of the big problems is the way that we've got all of this set up. It's given priority to the first. It's first come, first served, basically. Whereas I would rather give priority to the main bus, and then like only a choice few things would get to just literally take half from the bus and pass it down. We could, if I switched research to circuits, we could actually set that up fairly easily. I'll let it finish engines for now, but circuits will be one of the next things we go for. But as you can see now, the belts are completely saturated, which is great. We're seeing all of this working properly. We could even add a couple more smelters if we really wanted to, and I don't see a reason not to, considering we're actually running into a bit of trouble with our iron supply. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll run it all the way up. And there we are. Perfect. That is as far as we're going to be able to take this, though, just because of how much room we'll have left before we hit the bus. Bit of a shame, that one, but not a biggie, really. Right, there we go. Let's get all of these working. Thank you. Do I actually not have any in my inventory? Wow. Okay, I'll go pick some up. Actually, on the way, let's grab enough ammo so that we can use our pistol. Actually, I really should have, at this point, already produced a... we'll grab 50. A better weapon. Unfortunately, I haven't done that yet, which does mean I'm a bit vulnerable at the moment. I'm quite thankful that we haven't been attacked yet, but it's pretty much only a matter of time before this amount of pollution that we're doing, because we're making more and more pollution. As you can see down there by the miners, it is extremely polluted. Given that we are actually saturating the belt, you might be tempted not to build any more miners. But in my opinion, there's no reason not to, because once the belt is saturated, miners will stop mining, so they stop producing pollution at that point. So you may as well just keep adding it in, simply so that you don't have to come back and add it in later on. Ah, really? I am going to break the symmetry here, just because I am... really? That is annoying. Alright. Well, I guess we won't be breaking the symmetry. I'll just have to come back and mine that out properly another time. Alright, there we go. Let's get all of that going up. And if you're wondering what I meant, is that this little line is just outside of their range to mine. Right, let's get all of that set up. Perfect. And that should do us for a little while. I'll drop down another light here as well. A light or two, maybe. We'll have it going down there as well. That'll be a well-lit little area. I am a little bit concerned, though. Might want to build a second radar. Make sure that we've got information come through. Actually, do I even have a radar? Oh, no. Really? That's a massive oversight. Oh, well, while that's building in my pocket, I'll go ahead and remove all of this, since we don't need any of it to be here anymore. There we go. And in fact, these inserters... I'm not sure if the inserter uses more power when it's actually grabbing something, or whether it's just a static power consumption just to be built. But either way, I'm fairly certain there's even if it uses more when it's actually inserting than it does when idle. I'm fairly certain that when idle, it will be using a little bit. So getting rid of that will save us a little bit of energy. There we go. This can be a nice little spot for our radars, if nothing else. Let's go down and pop one there and one over there. Having two of them will just mean that they'll survey twice as much area as before. Right, let's get this area ready, because I would like the coal to have a bit of a pass-through. There we go. First one in place, and second one just about to be made. And that should keep everything moving there nice and fast. There we are. And that'll allow this crate to be properly stuffed. Right, how are the... Oh, actually, it's not doing too badly. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm glad about that. I could sort this out in a way and just actually... yeah, it's got enough there. I'm not gonna mess around with that right now. I don't think I need to. Right, okay, so we're finally starting to see things picking up a bit for us now. Good. At this point, I will turn this around, though I should, once again, limit that chest. In a way, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Let's make sure that everything is limited properly. There we go. Marvellous. Alright, we've got 19 mining drills. Actually, we really don't need 2 stacks of those. I think 1 stack will be more than enough for us. Right, we're almost at the point now where we can set up our production of belts, and with that we've almost got engine as well. It would be very nice if at the end of this episode we've not only got the means to start building rail, but also there we are, we've also got the belts being automatically produced. That would be quite awesome, in my opinion. Let's just finish off this little mining area down here. I need one there. Do we need one here? Yes, we do, unfortunately. Again, you can tell just by having a quick peek over and seeing if there was any production there. If it could actually reach anything. There we are, that'll do. It does hurt me a little bit to have to do this, but at the same time, knowing that it's all going to be mined makes me happy. So, it's swings and roundabouts, really. Swings and roundabouts. There we go. And that's everything. The whole deposit will now be mined for us. Let's go grab these. There we are. Ooh, I've run out of... Wow. That part I am a little bit surprised by. Run out of belts. For this entire episode, we've been managing on what I picked up the last episode, or fabricated the last episode myself. Let's go and grab this. Ooh, that's not particularly great to see, I'll be honest with you. 400 transfer belts should last us for quite some time, I fancy. Quite some time. Alright, let's get down here and take care of all of this, and we should be able to just leave this alone. Next, we need to upgrade our copper supply, though, but I'm not too concerned about that one just yet. Again, copper, in my opinion, is the least required early game. Iron is pretty much always required right through the game, but copper, you don't need it in large quantities to start with. Right, pop one there and here, and then we should be good. There we are. Everything is doing its job. Marvelous. Right. We've probably got a little bit that we could drop off as well at this point. But that should be good. Right, okay, let's go and finish work on the belts being made. We are going to have to set up an area for smelting steel, and I'll probably do something like that over here, just for the interim, because we're not going to need that much of it. Now, what are we going to need for belts? We're going to need level 1, and then a level 3. Should not be a problem. We are going to need gears. Only one of them needs gears, actually, so that's fine. We can just deliver the single gear direct to it without much problem. We will actually belt it, though, because it'll make it a little bit more expandable over time. So let's go ahead and pick up a couple of these. I'm not going to need all of them. My lord. My inventory is just so full of just rubbish. Dear me. Right, let's pop these down onto the bar down here. In fact, right now we can just drop off the miners as well. Don't actually need them. However, what we do need is a little bit of light being shed on the situation up here near all my factories. There we go. Right, so what we're going to want then is iron being delivered around here. And it's going to be fairly straightforward. We are going to want the iron to be only on one side of the belt, though. So let's set up something along... We'll move these up a little bit, actually. Just so it's a bit more expandable. There we are. That'll work a little bit better. We will have the iron and gears being delivered to all of them. Does this one require... wait. I'm going to need to make a higher tier one there. That does require iron plate. Okay, well, you know what? We won't be delivering the gears along this same belt then in that case. Simply because we'd be wasting space in a way. Let's pop that there. That should be all we need. We are going to need electronic circuits for you, though. We will get the gears. We can actually deliver them directly using a long-handed inserter, and we'd have to pop it there, though. The reason why we're going to need the long-handled inserter here instead of in the middle is because I need to run the belt underneath the long-handled inserter, and that would have broken things otherwise, because this still needs to access some of the iron plates. Oh, actually, I'm putting it in completely the wrong place. I do apologize. May as well keep that as static, though. We'll pop it over here. There we go. Marvelous. And we will want the gears to be produced here. And they can just pull the iron directly off the belt as well. There we are. And here we go. Nice and easy. This will be producing the iron gears. This will be producing the basic transport belt. This one will be making the underground belt. And then this one will be making splitters. So we're going to need to deliver an extra line of green circuits. In fact, maybe we could just run them up there. I don't think so. I think we'll make them on site, honestly. It'll be a little bit easier that way. And this can just come... Well, actually, we'll run it back from over here instead. So it gets a little bit of a higher priority on the iron. There we are. Going to need another underground belt and another splitter, and that will be the last underground belt I'm going to have to make manually, simply because this can be made without us having to set anything else up. So as soon as this is in place, boom, there we go. Marvelous. Marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. That will all take care of itself. I do need power though, so let's get that up as well. There we go. Just shy. Bit of a pot, really, but okay, it'll do. There we are. Right, at this point, we are going to be making all sorts of wonderful things. We are going to want to offload these into their own crates, though. So let's set these up. I'm going to want to limit this one again to 4. This one I'll limit to, honestly, what... 2 is probably overkill, but I'll limit it to 2 anyway, and we'll limit that one to 2 as well. At this point, we can actually merrily take this away. No longer need these to be stockpiled down there, as we're going to be storing them over here instead. Right, now to set up the electronic circuits. Again, we just need copper. We could easily do this. We can just run it up here. Actually, we're going to need a little bit of iron, so let's draw that out a wee bit. And then this iron can also feed here as well. There we are. Another long handled insert. I always call it handled instead of handed. For some strange reason, I can't get that one in my head. This one will be making the copper cable, so I can just drop that off. There we are, and I can even drop the copper cable in here. Oops, I set that up as the wrong thing. There we go. Drop that in, drop off some of the iron plates. There we are. This will now work, or should work. If we actually move these up to the top, it's going to be a little bit more useful for me. I can then move these up, and it should still, for the most part, work. There we go. That is much better. Marvellous. There we are. That'll all start doing its wonderful stuff. Let's get a little bit of copper being delivered as well. And then we are good and done. Pop that one in there. Gonna need one splitter, but of course I'm not gonna make it myself because no. That's why I built this whole thing, so I didn't have to. There we are. Okay, so we have got all of the belts being produced. Well, the tier 1 belts. We can now make tier 2 belts. They are much faster, and that is one way of increasing the throughput on getting materials to a much longer stack. You can run many more furnaces off an entirely saturated tier 2 belt than the tier 1 because it can move the materials that much faster. Right, let's see. Now the final thing for us is railway, and that is going to unlock all sorts of absolutely wonderful things. It's going to take a little while for that to do though, so I'm just going to set that research going, and I will leave it there. I think we've done a fair bit of progress today. In the next episode, I'll probably have already set up all of the additional mining for copper, and I'll let a bit of materials accrue. And when you return, we should be ready to set up the automation of rail track and the like, which is going to require stone. So So I guess at this point, maybe a stone outpost will be the first one we go for. We'll also notice, we've got some oil over there, that the radars are doing their job and expanding out our view all around, which is fantastic. No biters yet. That is a blessing, but it is not a blessing that we can count on. So I'm probably going to also want to automate the production of gun turrets fairly soon. And then just, for the time being, I'll just deliver ammo to them. But in the near future, we're going to want to make a more permanent solution for that as well. I do hope you enjoyed this episode, though, and will be joining me in the next. But until then, and as always, do take care, everyone.